Hello, and welcome to the tutorial of Green Assist via EIN. Green Assist via EIN is a new initiative that is implemented by CINEA and promoted by the Enterprise Europe Network. The goal of Green Assist is to provide free advisory services to projects that are linked to sustainable economy or circular economy. This tutorial will allow you to better understand the requirements of the call, allowing you to completely fill in the application form. To apply to the Green Assist via EIN program, it is mandatory to completely fill in the application form. Any application form that is not complete will be deemed as not admissible. The goal of this tutorial is to explain more in details the e-form that is mandatory to use to apply to the call for project requesting advisory services under Green Assist, also called Green Assist via EIN. This program provides advisory support to projects led by European SMEs. The objective is to select around 110 projects for a total of budget of 3 million euro. All eligible proposals could be supported and will be ranked, but only the eligible proposals that are ranked within the available budget will be selected. We recommend you to check the details of the call in the website available in the link that is in the PowerPoint presentation. The application form is split under 6 sections. The first one is about the contact data. It allows us to contact you and to communicate you the result of the call. The second section is about the organization. It allows us to ensure that you respect the eligibility criteria linked to the SME characteristic and to the geographical constraints. Third section details the assessment of the request. It allows us to understand what you need and which type of service do you need from Green Assist. The fourth section is about your investment project. Here again, we will check on eligibility condition, but we will also use this information to be able to rank your project. The fifth section is about your team, which will be also used for ranking purposes. And finally, the last section is to ensure that you are compliant with some of the main European rules. The first section we ask you the contact data. You could put only one contact data and one email. If needed, but it's not mandatory, you could add additional email. The second section details your organization. It requests its name and its country of origin. The country is important because only European SMEs are eligible for this call. Then we will ask you if you are indeed an SMEs, and we will double check this with self-declaration and the details rules that make organization an SME. Finally, we ask about your business in order to allow us to understand what you are doing and in which sector do you operate. The next questions on your organization have as objective to double check that you are effectively an SME. You have to have a turnover that is less than 50 million euro, a balance sheet less than 43 million euro, less than 250 employees. If you are part of a larger group, the group must also qualify as an SME. And finally, you could receive also form of support, but in this case, we want to make sure that they are properly identified. The third section allows us to identify your need for advices. What do you request from Green Assist? Therefore, we have listed several elements, several types of requests. You could request advice on business model, on financing, funding, even on validation or monitoring of your project, or other forms of advice are also possible. It will allow us to allocate you, if you are selected, the best available expert that we could provide you. We ask you also some specific questions. First, on the complexity of the request, because we will split different requests under simple request and complex request, in order not to compare apples and pears during the evaluation process. To do that, we will first assess the workload that you need. Do you need a consultant for more than 30 days? On the second bullet point, we will identify if you need different types of expertise. For example, if you need a technical but also a financial expertise. And finally, you have to define if you prefer to have a very specialized consultant, but then probably that the communication language will be in English, or are you okay with a less specialized expert, but that could communicate with you in your own language. And finally, we will ask you what's your involvement in this project, because if we allocate expert to you, you have also to dedicate some time to work with them and to explain them your requirements. The fourth section is about the investment project. We ask you the name of your project, what is it about, where it is located. It is important because, again, European countries are eligible. You could also add a website if it differs from your company website. And then you have to detail your planning, your milestone, and what's your project about. In this slide, in this part, you have some questions on the thematic coverage and on the activities of your project. This will be used to rank your project according to the first ranking criteria, which is the relevance criteria. The question on direct investment is important because it's one of the eligibility criteria. Indeed, in order to be eligible under the Green Assist via IND program, you have to ensure that your foreseen capex is at least 1 million euro. And finally, we ask you on how to fund your project. All these questions linked to the funding are linked to the second ranking criteria on maturity. In these sections, we ask you more details on the financing aspect of the project, and these elements will also be used to assess the maturity level of your project, knowing that projects that are more mature will be ranked higher. These questions are used to rank your project under the maturity criteria again. These are self-declaration, but pay attention to the fact that if we, during the evaluation, spot any inconsistencies, then your proposal could be rejected. So you really have to be transparent and fill in the self-declaration in good faith. That's very important. Then finally, we ask you if you already received European funding for this project. It is authorized except if you have received European EU Life grants. And finally, we ask you if you have additional elements to make us aware of. The last part is about your team. We want to be sure that you have some team, some structure that is present and defined to develop the project. It does not have to be very extensive, but it could help again to rank you a bit higher in the ranking list and to improve your chance to be selected. It's already the end of this tutorial on the application form of Green Assist via IN. We have tried to make this application form quite short and straightforward. In order to provide a summary of the application process, you first have to provide us the contact data, then your organization details, then you have to provide us with explanation on your need. What do you need from Green Assist? Then you have to explain your project and to explain us how you are structured to deliver it. As we mentioned already, the Green Assist via INT is based on ranking criteria. These ranking criteria are based on relevance, on maturity, and on impact. All these elements are detailed in the call documentation available in the website. Finally, to close this tutorial, I want to give you some tips for a successful application. The form has to be fully completed. Incomplete applications are rejected. You have to be very transparent. All declarations must be accurate and consistent. Finally, highlight your teams and its competencies. Clarify your needs and double check. Consistency is the essence. If we find any inconsistencies, your project could be rejected. We hope that you will be successful in this process and hope to be able to contact you with a positive answer. Thanks a lot for listening.